Hey guys, this is Amy, aka Funky Mama 0703. Just wanted to let you know this is another Prince EA video. What is school for? It's one that really hit me, just the education system, and it kind of goes along with I sued the school and that type thing. Forgive the rumblings outside. We've got a fabulous storm, a thunderstorm coming. No rain yet, oh, little rain, but most of it is just the rumblings, and I love a good rumbling storm. So I'm gonna get us on the way.
What is school for? Feel free to call me slow, but I spent 16 years going to school, and I still don't know. When I finished, I didn't know how to do my own taxes, purchase a home, or apply for a loan. I didn't know a thing about investments, building credit, or getting a job. I graduated at the top of my class, and what did I have? This fancy diploma to sit at home with my mom. But luckily, they did teach me some important skills like factoring trinomials and how mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell. I'm so happy I remember the Pythagorean theorem, because it helped me a lot. Okay, I'm lying. Let me stop. Because all the stuff they taught me, truthfully, I forgot. Mom, remember when you would ask me, what did you learn in school today? And I would say, nothing much. I wasn't being modest. The truth about it, Mom, is I had already forgotten. And it's not just me. Millions of students sing the same song. How many of you guys avoid eye contact with the teacher to try not to get caught upon? Afraid to raise your hand for fear of being wrong, which proves that school isn't an environment for learning or building up the intellect. It's just a game you play for grades and how many A's you can collect. But I guess what do you expect when the most commonly asked question in class is this gonna be on the test? Is this gonna be on the test? See, if school put learning instead of testing and memorizing as the top standard, then the letter F would not stand for failure. It would stand for find another answer. And if school was really interested in our personal and academic success, students would wake up later, have more freedom and homework, a lot less. And that's not my opinion. This conclusion has been scientifically tested and proven. And any teacher that doesn't believe me, feel free to check my works cited page to inspect. Oh, and I did it in MLA format because I know that's all you will accept. See, students would get more benefit from an extra hour of sleep than putting them through the torture of an extra essay, reading 150 pages, doing problems 1 through 60 on the worksheet, and having 3 projects due by the end of the week. Not only is it pointless pain, but it's also dim-witted. Because we get so much work, but they don't teach the time management skills to deal with it. See, in school, we are controlled by bells. We have to learn in rooms with the feng shui of a prison cell. We have to ask permission to relieve bodily functions, but not before the teacher asks a million questions like, why didn't you go before class? I'm sorry, my bladder is kind of on its own schedule and it's not always timely. See, teachers always say, use your time wisely. But that never made sense to me. Because these 6 cruel hours of our lives we call school might literally be the worst use of time management ever in history. Think about it. The traditional teaching method is foolish. No, it's useless, multiplied by the square root of stupid. What they do is they cram information in your head, force feeding you, and then you throw it up on the test. That's not education. That's bulimia. And the more bulimic you are, the better you will do on their assessments. So it's no wonder why so many students graduate mentally and emotionally anorexic. See, school teaches you how to memorize dots. True education should teach you how to connect them. True education teaches you how to catch a fish. School teaches you, yeah, you caught the fish, but you didn't show your work, so it doesn't count. Throw it back. I'm just asking, what is school for? It's not education. That's just not true. If you still think that, you might be sniffing glue. See, the word education comes from the Latin root educe, meaning bring out, i.e. bring the gifts out of a person and make them viable. But school doesn't bring out much. It just stuffs more facts inside of you. Now, some of that stuff is justifiable. We need reading, writing, and some arithmetic. That's fair. But are you telling me metamorphic and igneous rocks are more important than self-care? If suicide is the third leading cause of death of ages 10 to 24, and Harvard studies suggest the biggest predictor for success is self-control and emotional health, then why the heck aren't we taught how to handle stress, bullies, or rejection? How about anxiety or depression? You know, skills we need for our entire lives. Bro, I don't even know how to cook. I'm honestly surprised I'm still alive. But hey, at least I can name all the battles that happened in the Civil War. Seriously, what is school for? Some say you need it to be successful, and that's something we do not doubt. But do you own a MacBook or iPhone? Did you know they both were created by a dropout? Are you watching this video on Facebook or YouTube? Doesn't matter which you choose, they both were created by dropouts. Ever use Snapchat, WhatsApp, shopped at Whole Foods? Well, thank a dropout. Does your home furniture come from IKEA? Okay, don't get the wrong idea. He was not a dropout. Don't be a fool. I mean, how could he drop out? Ingvar Kamprad, founder of IKEA, never even went to school. I know what you're thinking. He's just picking and choosing. There's millions who didn't go to school that aren't successful. Who is he fooling? And you're right. But open your history books and start perusing. You'll find the very people we idolize in school never really had formal and/or secondary schooling. I'm talking George Washington, Abe Lincoln. America's best presidents had zero school between them. Ben Franklin, Thomas Edison, shall I proceed? Ernest Hemingway, Mark Twain, Teddy Roosevelt, Margaret Mead. Now please, I'm not saying drop out, because some schools are great and many teachers are rare treasures. I'm saying that there's a difference between people who are smart and people who score better. I'm saying that your future is something that no test will ever measure. Even if that test begins in 3 letters like SAT, ACT, it's BS if they say those determine your LIFE. No, your destiny is in your hands. You must shape it to be great. So don't expect school to open doors, because it's more likely to slam them in your face. Sometimes I wonder about all the dreams lost in school and how much potential goes to waste. If it wasn't for music and YouTube, then I would have been just another lost case. Everybody watching this, please, close your eyes. Imagine a child sitting in the back of some teacher's class in some town. He never raises his hand, he fails most of his classes, but inside of him, there is a passion. And if nurtured and brought out, will lead him to discover the cure for cancer. But you see, I'm afraid that that child's gift will never come out. He will never win the Nobel Prize award because in class he was ignored and his worth was judged only by his scores. So teachers, principals, parents, advisors, and students, I ask one more time, what is school for? Hey guys, what's up? My name is Prince EA, and I want to thank you for watching that video. And now, I just have one question left. What is school for? Don't you think it's time that we answer this question together? If you are a teacher, a parent, or a student, I urge you to check out the Innovation Playlist. What is the playlist? It is a program that any school can try for free. It's based on the best practices from educators around the world, and through its small steps, it can lead to big changes in your school. Go to innovationplaylist.org to learn more. Peace.
What is school for? What are you thinking school is about? How does it work into your life? I'm at that point with my son, who is in a program at the local tech, and it approaches that subject very well. What is school for? Obviously, he didn't get what he needed at the regular school, so they're just teaching him what he needs to go through. His big stress was trying to come up with people to put on his resume. They taught him how to write a resume, and then they taught him to write a opening letter, get the resume together, get references, that type thing. And he's stressed about having that because he doesn't have any work experience. He's 16 years old. He hasn't been out in the world working, and he also just is not an type kid. So he doesn't have a lot of professional references, and they wouldn't let him use personal references. So he needed the professional. So that's what he was doing. But they're teaching him, ow, cat, life skills and certain things there. And I'm hoping it goes further. But right now, all it is basically just teaching him how to fill out applications, what to put in, that type thing. And that's good for him to get a job. Prince EA brought that up here where they aren't teaching, school is good. Oops, don't fall off the couch there, puppy or kitty. They're not teaching our kids what they need. They're just teaching them what some agenda is. Just like that other video from before, I Sued the School. You've got policymakers who are telling us what we should be what our kids should be learning, but they're not explaining why. I mean, my son does not need trigonometry. He doesn't need geometry, although maybe rudimentary he does. A lot of that stuff isn't needed. And the fact that we're teaching our kids this stuff beats them down, and they're not getting what they need. They're not learning how to cook. They have very few classes now that are offered that are home-based or family or personal-based. Prince EA brought it up about children being suffering from depression and that. The school system or the school setup system is what's causing this. And teachers need to be educated on how to approach children like this. One thing that hit me in the feels was when my son came home one day. I think it was either in his one of the first few years of high school, or maybe in his middle school year. I can't remember which one. But he had a teacher. He was just kind of in a funk, nothing, not anything really bad. He had been having a rough couple of days with things that he was learning, and he was pissed off about things. It happens. But he was having some issues, and the teacher had come out and took it from the hall and just kind of said, "Hey, are you okay? Is everything okay?" And she noticed that he was in a little bit of a funk, so she was willing to go out and help him. And I thought that was the coolest thing. And it's like a teacher really stepping up to help one of her students. And it really hit me to hear that that's what this teacher did. She realized he was off a little bit, and that maybe he needed a little help through something that was going on. And it was kind of neat that this teacher was willing to do this. We need to educate more teachers to be that type. You wouldn't need to arm a teacher in school then if the teacher they had taught, or if they were teaching teachers to notice these kids that are in the back. I was one of those kids. Tried to sit as far away from the teacher as I could. Never made eye contact. He was so right when he said that, and I think I said that in the other video as well. He was so right about that, because that's how I was as well. Sit in the back of the class until I actually had to have preferential treatment for being blind in one eye and can't see out the other. Preferential treatment, or had to sit in the back, or I sat in the back. I would never make eye contact with the teacher, never raise my hand for fear that I'd be wrong. And that was the big thing, is that I feared I'd be wrong. My son to this day still says he has the same issue, where he'll know the answer. He'll think he knows the answer. So he wants to raise his hand, but he won't, because he doesn't want to be proven wrong. He doesn't want the stigma of the class put on him if he's wrong. So he never raised his hand. Well, then somebody else answers it, or the teacher brings it up, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I knew that. I could have said that." But he was afraid not to, or he was afraid to. And I had the same issue, but I was never usually right. It's just trying to reach out. It's individualizing education, which I know is going to cost more money, and I know it's going to be harder, because you're trying to teach every teacher to read their students. Don't go up on my table, cat. You have to teach these students teachers how to read their students, and how to understand what's going on in each of their students' lives. And it's not easy. And it's a lot of extra work, and these teachers are working their butts off as it is. But we need to give them more skills. We need to give them more opportunities to reach out to these kids. Now, they're the ones that see them more than most of us parents. I mean, I look at it, today's schedule is my son is at school. Okay, it's only for 3.5 hours. But my son is at school, and if he was going to a traditional school, it would be 6 hours, 7 hours of him being in school. And then I would go to work. Now, I start at 3 o'clock today, but ordinarily 4 o'clock, 4:30, my son would be home alone. I mean, he'd be at school learning for those 6 hours, 7 hours, and then I'd be home for like 30 minutes with him, and then I go to work. So, they see him more than I do, or they saw him more than I do in some cases. And it just gets me because they see him and they have more interaction with him sometimes than I ever get to. It hurts as a mom, a single mom, to be able to have that, but it is what it is. But they see him more than I do, so they would know if there's something off more. But my son's really good at communicating with me. He's really good at talking with me about what's going on. And that's where that comes from, is the fact that he is able to sit and talk. And I know when he's feeling bad. I can tell. But it's not always going to work that way. And, he's 16 years old, and I don't know how much longer I'm going to have the ability to touch him like I have been. Who knows? He might be my shining star. All right. I think the big thing to take away from this, school is a good thing. And we're not saying it isn't. But I think school as an asset needs to be changed quite a bit to do what it should be doing. Some of our greatest minds were people who never had an education. Now, we are struggling to keep up with other countries and their education, but their education system is almost as crazy as ours. And they're the reason why we are pushing trigonometry on 5-year-olds. And, okay, maybe that's an exaggeration, but 5th graders, there we go, that's a better idea. But the idea is we are pushing these kids so much harder. We're taking away their aspect of being able to do things that they are good at. The last video from Prince EA, I sued the school system. He had pointed that out too. We're not using what the kids are good at to pump them up. We're force feeding this education on them, these dates and figures and times, and expecting them to know this. And it's just long enough to know, or just they know it long enough just to put it back on the exam, to regurgitate that information. And then there we go. I mean, I realize information is power. And we do need to have an idea of history. We do need to know things that are going on. And we do need to be able to figure certain things out. But that's rudimentary. A lot of that is rudimentary. Figuring the area of a room is rudimentary. You can figure that out. It's not that hard. Even I can do it, and I ain't no mathematician. But, you need to give the kids a sense of self and promote what they like. Because, what's funny is the thing that they like is probably going to end up being a profession for them. My son is heavy into, YouTube. He likes to do video editing. He likes to do picture editing through Photoshop. He loves to do a lot of things and that deal with electronics and computers. So it's my belief that his career is going to be working with computers, basically, of course, but also probably something more geared towards like advertising and using that. So, and I realize that requires schooling. It doesn't require knowing how to figure out the square footage of a room. It doesn't require knowing the history of the world. He needs to know this stuff, but not to the extent that they force it on him. And a lot of that stuff he's not going to remember when they do ask him. So the idea is he needs to learn things that are up his field, in his interest, so that you get somebody who, the passion, you exercise the passion and they'll do it. You know, we can't ignore that these kids are interested in other things, in things other than the education. Of course, they're not going to be interested in the education. There are very few kids who love to learn things like that. So give them the ability to do things that are a passion. Who knows where, you know, that you'll get that one kid again who was on the verge of quitting school, or who was, you know, just hidden away in the back of the room, who can cure cancer. That's the whole idea. Grab these people, get them thinking, and get them working their magic, because everybody's got magic in their own areas, and we have to nurture those areas. And you have to make sure that those areas are loved, and that they get the ability to use their passion, because their passion is what's going to move them along in life. And if we stymie the passion, if we tell them that what they want and what they like is not worth it, you know, by not, by not nurturing it, then of course they're gonna think they're worthless. Let's not do that to our kids. School isn't worth a lot right now. I mean, it's important. It really is. But we need to learn how to teach our kids better. All right, so I've been on my soapbox. We will talk to you guys later. Leave likes, comments below. Subscribe if you haven't yet subscribed, or get friends to subscribe if you like, whatever. I'd love to see you guys pop up on my bar as new subscribers. Just let me know what's going on in your life, what you'd like to see on the channel some more. We've got a wide array of videos, so hopefully I'm striking some of you and getting your interest in it. But let me know what's going on in your life, what you'd like to see, what you hear. If you disagree with me, go ahead. I don't have a problem with argument, or not argument, with lively discussion. But I'd like to hear from you guys. Have a good day, enjoy, and we will see you in the next video. Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.